The KOME Expressway Show on 98.5 KOME.
He's got the positive vibration, and today he'll share his 30 positive tips with us. Please welcome Positive Paul, Doctor of Positivity and Self-Therapy Consultant.
Positivity is rethinking and reversing old negative things and ideas with new, positive, creative ways to build and maintain a more positive, more realistic, more balanced attitude. And it's how to overcome worry, anxiety, stress, guilt, oppression, depression, all these irrational thoughts that we have. And when we think something horrible, awful, and terrible, how to get over that. And it's a new word. It's not in a dictionary. I made it up from two words. Yeah. Positive and creativity. See, I believe positive is the good and true and beautiful things in life with lots of love, freedom, and growth. Mm-hmm. And then creativity is the making of the new or rearranging the old in a new way. So put positive and creativity together, and I came up with positivity.
How long have you been Positive Paul? Or were you ever negative, nasty Paul?
I was never negative, honest. It's interesting. My mother brought me up to be positive, be a giver, and a good finder instead of a fault finder. So, and then I took the Dale Carnegie course, and I became an instructor for 20 years part-time, and so that brought me out of my shell, and then that started me on my really positive thinking.
On your road to positiveness.
Positivity, yeah.
Now, you've written many, many, many books. How many books have you written now?
Well, 10 years ago, I wrote 4 books. They're out of print right now. Mm-hmm. Last year, I had a book published. The title is 1,101 Lifetime Secrets of Positive Paul.
And you have another book again about positivity, and you're also an instructor on positive thinking, correct?
Yes, I do teach. I went back down to San Jose State and got my teacher certificate. I don't teach college, but I teach adult education in the evenings. Mm-hmm. I teach a class called Positivity, and I teach a class called Double Your Memory without a pencil, and I teach another class called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
Oh, that sounds like a good one. How do you do that?
Oh, how do you stop worrying, start
living?
How
do we stop that worrying and start living?
Worrying is a magical attempt to influence something that cannot be influenced by worry. See, and then also guilt is almost the same thing.
Yeah,
guilt is a magical attempt to go back and to rewind and maybe redo something that can't be redone. Mm-hmm. So I always say, worry is the future, guilt is the past. If you don't have either, your life will last.
Live in the present, right, Paul?
The present moment. So, gosh, as we get older, we have to learn to live in the present moment. Right now, with you and I together, right now, we appreciate each other, we're happy.
And everyone listening, of course.
Yeah.
Appreciating Positive Paul. You also talk about reversing negative thoughts. Now, that's a very, very difficult thing to do. How do you recommend getting started?
We do have to deprogram all this negative, I'm going to say junk, but I don't want to say junk, but all this negativity that our parents and society and religion and schooling and everything, we just have to deprogram all these things that we learned as a child growing up. And when we're 6, we already have our attitude. Mm-hmm. So, and 95% of us are always doing, thinking, talking, and feeling the same way as everybody else. It's crazy.
Well, a lot of times there's a little voice in the back of your head.
I know.
That's the little evil voice.
I call
throws
it
the negatives in.
I call it the caveman critic.
Oh.
Because see, the caveman had a little brain the size of a pea, and that brain told him always to fight or run away, and that's what we have inside. It's an automatic overreaction, more or less. So I have these 30 positive tips that I teach.
Yeah, tell us about the 30 positive tips.
I developed 30 of them, Marla, because you take one positive tip a day and live with that, think about it, live with it, talk about it, and keep it inside you, then the first day of the month and the second day of the month. So I had 30 positives, one for each day of the month.
And so you get to continue to do it month after month.
Do it month after month.
So you get good at it finally.
Now, there are 7 months to have 31 days, and I have a 31 positive.
Oh.
I always said, on the 31st day, you take a positive checkup, like a physical checkup. And you could go back over the positives that you had trouble with or something.
Right.
But the 30 positives, we don't have time to do all 30, of course.
No, but let's try a couple of them.
Number 1 is very, very important. Number one is the secret of positive thinking.
Mm-hmm.
See, we can't think positive
We
because we're brought up with negativity. We're brought up all these negative thoughts.
and doubts,
And so it's
insecurities.
automatic negative thought comes out before we even think about it.
Right.
So we cannot think positive. We're comfortable with negative thinking. So the secret, and I won't go back. Why I'm not going to go back and tell you why we're negative, because you already know that our parents, our grandfathers, and our grandmothers, and all the people
Right.
did that to us, because we were an empty sponge, and they filled it all up. The secret of positive thinking is to eliminate negative thinking. Seems so silly, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And
But
easy.
we have to recognize that we have a negative thought that we're either going to say or something we're going to feel. And then I invented this. As soon as you have something negative coming up in your mind, you're going to do it or react to a person in an angry way. You say, stop cop. Stop cop stands for, the STP stands for start thinking of positivity. And the cop is a command of positivity. So actually you're giving your brain a command of positivity. So you say, stop cop, think another thought. So what happens? You're thinking negative, you say stop cop, and you think of something positive. Your vacation, what you're going to have for dinner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, when you go out for dinner, what, and then that keeps your mind off of the negative just for a second, because as soon as you stop thinking of the positive, it's going to go right back to the negative again. So then you think of something else positive, and it might be 2 minutes before it goes back to the negative. Then the next time you do something, you think of something positive, it might be 4 or 5 minutes. So you get the idea?
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a daily battle.
Yeah, you keep practicing, and pretty soon you won't be thinking.
Oh, so do you feel that once you begin practicing that the negative thoughts will come up in a lesser manner?
Yes, because
Ah.
you're implanting or deprogramming, and you are adding positive thoughts instead of negatives.
You know, that's a very good point, and that's something I actually have been working on over the years, because you do have a control of your emotions. Sometimes you feel your emotions are taking over, but that's not true. And when you start getting down on yourself, and you need to stop and say, I'm going to stop this.
Yeah.
Stop, exactly.
So you stop cop.
That is a secret.
And then you can stop cop 6 times, really, see. You can say, stop cop, think another thought. And you can think another thought.
Uh-huh.
You can say, stop cop, and you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch something in the outside physical world. So you could see this beautiful sky, see a bird.
What's another tip?
Number 4 is very important. Number 4 is the physical and the thinking world. See, we live in 2 worlds. We live in the physical world, which is the outside world, and the thinking world, which is the inside world.
Right.
When we get the 2 worlds mixed up, we're in trouble,
Right.
because we're letting everything outside, or some things, affect us. So when we react to things outside in the physical world, that's not too good.
Is this, for instance, jealousy? Would that be considered one of the things you're talking about?
Yes.
So I heard a great definition of jealousy, and that is, jealousy is the fun you think they're having.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's almost as if you're making it
Jealousy.
up in your mind. You're putting this scenario together for something that probably isn't even happening.
That's true. We have to remember that that's our thinking world. So when we react to the physical world, we're reacting negatively. So in our thinking world, we've got to do this stop cop, and we've got to say that I'm just thinking those things. Because, see, we cannot have a feeling without a thought. Feelings are not real. And when I teach that, people say, what? Feelings are not real. You might say your thoughts are real. Or you cannot have a feeling without a thought. You can't think jealousy. You can't feel jealous without thinking jealousy thoughts.
Right.
So, but that's the physical and thinking world.
So the control of the emotions does come through the mind.
Yes, from the brain. See, I think the brain has 2 parts. This the brain, which is I call it the part that's learned all this, and I think it's like a computer. And then there's the thinker, that we're the thinker. So once in a while, you could even say, when you have a very negative thought, or you're going to react negatively to somebody, you could say, okay, brain, I got your message, just stop sending it. I don't like it. Or you could say, if you're in psychological pain sometimes, you could say the same thing. Okay, brain, I got your message, stop it. You just gave me something to work on, brain.
Right.
Shut up.
Now shut up, right?
Yeah, anything like that. Positive number 5 is very important, because positive number 5, in fact, I tell people it's the most important one almost. If that's all they get, they got it. It's the ACT formula, A-C-T. I one time in life, acronyms became my hobby, but I've changed it to acrogems. See? Because an acrogem is a word or short sentence that's formed from the first letters of things you want to remember to improve motivation, memory, and effective communication. So the ACT formula. The A stands for acceptance. We have to accept everything that happens in that physical world. Now, people look at me real funny when I say that. If you don't accept it, what are you going to do? Go crazy, go to bed for a week, jump off a building?
Get depressed.
Get depressed, right. But you accept all your feelings that you're having. Accept the situation, accept the person. Acceptance is a very important thing.
It is. And I notice this in relationships with anybody, friendships. Sometimes there's things about people you just don't like and you want to change them and you're frustrated. And the answer is you've just got to accept this is the way the person is. It's difficult.
And I'm so glad you brought that up because a lot of times when I'm teaching, I get on little detours. And this is a little detour. I don't try because you can't try to do anything. You have to do it or not.
Right.
But I tell young people who are getting married to accept their partner as they are. See, I had trouble in my marriage the first few years because I didn't accept my wife. I've learned to accept her, and our marriage is so beautiful because we have to accept that person like they are. They are a separate reality. We can't tell them what to eat, what to think, what to do. So anyway, acceptance is very important. The C in the ACT formula stands for choice. After we accept what happened, then we make a choice of we're going to be negative or positive. We choose maybe what we want to envision in life. We choose what we want to do about it, or we choose what we want to be, do, and have. Choice is very important. And then the T is take action. You take action on what you choose.
Well, the choice, to go back to that, a lot of folks, including myself, are indecisive. And you stand on that fence post. Oh, what do I do? What do I do? If I do this, what's going to happen? If I do that, what's going to happen? You have to make a choice, ration it out, and then you've just got to not look back.
That's true. You're
Get
so
going
smart.
on that.
You ought to teach my class.
No. Positive Marla doesn't sound as good as Positive Paul.
Acceptance, choice, and take action. So important. And while I'm on choice, in life, a certain event happens, and between the event or the situation and the reaction that we have or the thoughts that we have, there is the choice, the freedom of choice, I might say.
About how you're going to act. When
because
you
we
hear
are human beings. And we have self-awareness, imagination, conscience, and independent will. So we have the freedom of choice.
For instance, if you're driving your car and someone hits your car, you have the choice about the way you're going to act. Is that
right?
You can get mad.
Oh, yes.
We can take a deep breath, act rationally. So you do have the choice.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, good. I'm getting it, Paul. I'm getting it.
Oh, you had it all the time.
Give
because
us-
you're a woman. I think the best thing God ever made was a woman.
Oh, I like
really
to hear
do.
that. That's very good. Well, tell us some more positive
Well,
tips.
let's see. Positive 14 is very important, too. Positive 14 is, are you in change or choice? See, change is like control. Change is very hard to do. Change is like more in the physical world than the thinking world. It's hard to change ourselves. I mean, it's impossible, really, to change ourselves. So,
But we say it all the time. I always have to change.
All my life I've been buying. I have 2,000 books in my library, and I've been buying these books. And always, all my life until 10 years ago, I've been thinking I have to change my life. I have to change this, change that. And all of a sudden, I read some books by Dr. Gary Emery, a psychologist, and he said, change is so hard to do. Change takes time, certain tools, and a lot of energy. And it's like this. If you're a person who loves sweets, cookies, chocolates, and things, if you're a person that loves, you're not going to change yourself into a person who doesn't like sweets, chocolates, and cookies. But you can make a choice at this present moment not to eat those things. See, so I say you can unchange your habits by making choice a habit. Good phrase, isn't it?
Very good.
So once in a while during the day, you have to stop and ask yourself, am I in change or choice? Because we're always trying to change our spouse, our girlfriend, boyfriend, our children.
Right.
We cannot change anybody, even ourselves. But we can make choices.
Right.
And then 15 is very important. Positive number 15 is you can OD on self-talk. And I want to talk about self-esteem too. See, self-esteem comes in with that positive thinking because self-esteem does not come from other people. It comes from us. And it's the first letters in self-esteem are SELF.
Right.
But all our life we've been brought up, my parents, my father used to say, you're stupid, you can't do anything right. Do it over again. Say the exact words I want you to say. You're
Those
stupid.
negatives again.
So that, because I'm a child, that brought my self-esteem down. And
Right.
it made me feel inferior or funny, and I hid away from people, didn't go into sports. Well, so we cause our own self-esteem. And so when we start thinking, I had a lady in class once that said, I haven't had a date in 10 years. I went to a dance the other night, and nobody asked me to dance. I'm so ugly, and I was born without legs. I have these wooden things, and they're awkward. She went to 4 weeks in my class, and when she graduated, she was
dancing
so beautiful. And her attitude was different because we tried to tell her in class, not only me, but other people tried to tell her, when you get those negative thoughts, I'm ugly, you just got to stop it. Stop cop. We can't think those thoughts. So you can OD on self-talk because we have 50,000 thoughts a day. Now, scientists say 50 to 90, but when I say 90, people say, oh, no, Paul, I couldn't have 90 thoughts. But we do have 50 thoughts a day. Just when I have to pick up this glass of water, that's a thought. So 80% of those thoughts are negative, believe it or not.
I
So
can't
that's
believe
40,000. See, 80% of 50 would be what? 3 times 5.
Paul, this isn't a math class.
Okay, 40,000. So we have 40,000 thoughts a day. And that comes down to about 2,000 negative thoughts an hour. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe that.
And when I tell people,
my mind is racing it all the time, Paul. I
all
need
of
to take
us,
a
I
break.
Am too.
I know.
So we're having 40 negative thoughts a minute. And you say, wait a minute, it's only 60 seconds a minute. Can't
Right,
have.
right.
Yes, you can, because we're doing it. So we have to stop the self-talk about ourselves.
It's when you get one thing I want to mention that I read in your book is getting yourself undepressed. Now, I really would like to learn how to do that because when you're talking about the self-talk, that's how you get yourself into a hole. You feel a little bad, a couple things are going wrong, and then you just can dig. You just start digging into that hole, and then you're deep.
That's right.
The downward spiral. So how do you get yourself undepressed?
And see, you got to remember that when you're depressed, like you said, you're thinking those thoughts.
Right.
And remember, we can't have a feeling without thought. So we got to say, stop, cop.
Right.
We got to think of something else. Or you could say, okay, brain, I'm going to feel depressed for
5 minutes.
20 seconds.
Oh.
5 minutes, yes. Well, 5 minutes, okay. Yeah, no, that's too long.
That's too long.
long.
God, what am I thinking here?
Just, I'm going to stay depressed for 20, 25 seconds.
Okay.
And then I'm going to forget it. See, and a lot of people think you have to explode or hit pillows and all that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to implode. Implode means you keep it inside. But I say you have to reload. So you stop the thought after for 15 minutes. You have to go through the pain for 15, 20 seconds, really, to forget it. Remember I said accept,
Yes.
ACT? You accept the fact that I feel depressed. But I choose not to feel depressed. So I'm going to think of something else. Or I'm going to look at the beautiful sunset. I'm going to touch the skin of my newborn baby. Or I'm going to smell the rose in the backyard. See, that's beautiful. So
And that's how you undepress yourself.
yeah,
Ah.
undepress yourself and not, deprogram yourself.
I see.
Have an anti-shame program. That's another one.
Anti-shame.
Because as kids growing up, we feel embarrassed. We feel shameful. We feel humiliated. So now, I want to tell you that shame does not come from other people, but we think it does. See, someone can say something to us like you're stupid or this
Shame
or
on
that.
you.
Yeah, shame on you. Right. And right away you feel ashamed or embarrassed. That's not true. Shame comes from us, from inside our thinking world. So you have to have an anti-shame program. And there are many, many things, and some are really weird. But see, my family doesn't like to go with me any place because I talk to everybody. I start giving them seminars. But that's one thing. If you're in a long line at the bank and everybody seems to be, so tired. Oh, why don't they get more tellers? So you do an anti-shame thing. You could talk to those people. Say, my name is Paul, and what is your name, please? Say, or start a conversation. There are some different things like, let me see. I wouldn't advise the one thing a psychologist said, you could put if you're a man, you put your trousers on and then you put your underwear on top of them and go to work. Now,
No,
that's a little
bit
That's a
ridiculous.
little too much. But you could learn to talk to people. You could ask questions. See, a lot of people won't ask questions. You go in the store and you look around for things instead of going to the counter and asking people, or stopping people on the street and asking them. So, but you have to have an anti-shame program. Oh, another thing, if you feel shamed, if you feel humiliated or shameful or embarrassed, stay in that thought, stay in that shame for a while as much as you can, because that's good practice, good experience.
Right.
But keep thinking that I'm ashamed because I feel ashamed.
Right. Well, I'm not very embarrassed either. I'm also very outgoing. And I know oftentimes I'm with friends and they are lecturing me, don't talk to people, don't act like that. They're embarrassed to be with me, you see. And I say, well, listen, if you're so embarrassed, don't go out with me then.
Hey, that's
because
great.
I can't be any different than I am. And what's wrong? Why are they so embarrassed? Because, what if I'm
great.
seen with you?
Yes.
So I'm just not even going to deal with their shame. They can deal with their own.
Because 80% of the people are ashamed in life. And there are 3 types of people I have found. Like I said, there's 2,000 books, but I've probably interviewed 500 people. Mm-hmm. And I have 3 types of people in the world: the nervous neurotic, the negative normal, and the nonpareil master. See,
what's
nonpareil is no equal, unique, and peerless.
Uh-huh.
And the master is a person who has expert skills, advanced knowledge, wisdom, and creative imagination.
Right.
They're not afraid of what other people think of them. They're always in control of their own life. See, I get excited when I start talking like this. But see, and you and I are nonpareil masters. See, and maybe number 3 would be important too, just to talk. I brushed over 3, but maybe if you have time, we could talk about number 3. Number 3 of mine is called The Secrets of Reality. Like we could say, there's no such thing as time. Now, you've heard all this before.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But we have made up time so we can keep track of things.
Mm-hmm.
And
keep ourselves in order.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no, well, so I tell people in my class to take a world's eye view. See, the world doesn't know that, what month is this?
January.
The world doesn't know it's January. The world doesn't know what time it is. The world doesn't have a calendar. In fact, the world doesn't even know we're alive. The world doesn't care if we die tonight with a heart attack. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe God does, or the maker of the universe, but the world doesn't care. So I say, take a world's eye view. Don't take everything so personal. A person who thinks about their birthday all the time and how old they are. See, life is short to people who live in birthday time. Mm-hmm. Life is very long for people who live in now time. Mm-hmm. N-O-W. And N-O-W spelled backwards is one, W-O-N. So if you live in now time, then you've won some great victory for yourself. Mm-hmm. So I'm writing another book. I'm going to use The Secrets of Reality. You know, there's no such thing as tomorrow. Because you get up tomorrow, there's no day called tomorrow, you know what I mean?
Right, right. It's today.
You don't get up tomorrow and say, oh, it's a beautiful day tomorrow. Do you? No.
You might say tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day.
You could, but then you're
looking
thinking about
too far
tomorrow,
ahead.
see?
I see.
And so that's just a thought. You only have this present moment right now. And we have 1,000 present moments every day that we're not sleeping. Isn't that beautiful? 1,000.
Positive Paul with all the secrets. Positive, why don't you tell us some of the places your book is available?
Right now you can buy them at the booksellers in the Pruneyard. Mm-hmm. And you can buy them at Town Books in Morgan Hill.
Right.
And they will be selling the 1,201 Lifetime Secrets and also Positivity books.
I see. And do you also have a phone number in case anybody wants to enroll in one of your classes?
Oh, yeah. They could call me at 408, of course, is the code, and it's 227-1100.
Keep the positive vibe, right, Paul?
Yes.
Thank you
right.
very much for coming down today.
I love you. Thank you.
You've been listening to the KOME Expressway Show. Views and opinions expressed on today's show are solely those of our guests and not necessarily of 98.5 KOME or Infinity Broadcasting. Address all comments or subject ideas to the KOME Expressway Show. KOME 3031 Tisch Way, Suite 3, San Jose 95128.
The rock revolution is on. The new 98.5 KOME.